Hello, dear sisters of the Given Network. It's Rachel Ullman, the Executive Director of the Given Institute, and I just wanted to extend my thanks to all of you who have tuned in over the past 5 days for Discover the Gift. It has been wonderful to pray together, to spend time listening to Catholic female leaders and networking so that ultimately we can each individually discover the gift that only we can give because of the gift that we are. I want to take some time to personally thank you. I'm filming this prior to the end of Discover the Gift because I am due to give birth very shortly. I'm about to have my third child, and ultimately, you just don't know when God's timing is. So I needed to record this message and to be able to have it ready for all of you to see, to thank you for being with us during this unprecedented online event that we didn't expect. But God has been truly generous and merciful to us. I would like to ask for your prayers for my upcoming delivery and healthy baby, and ultimately your prayers for the entire Given staff and the Given Network, which you are now a part of. It is so exciting that we have welcomed so many women from across the country, even internationally, to be a part of our network of Catholic female leaders. And I really want to take the time right now to introduce one of these Catholic female leaders, and that is Sonia Quintero, who is giving our final keynote called Activate the Network. I asked Sonia to give this keynote because she herself is a prime example of an emerging Catholic female leader. She's a young adult, which is the targeted age range of our mission at Given, of who we typically invite to attend the in-person forum in Washington, D.C. But of course, because of COVID, we have this online event that has been open to women of all ages. So I'm so excited to introduce Sonia, who is a perfect example, a witness to enthusiasm, a witness to a love of our Catholic faith, and a beautiful witness to using her gifts at the service of the gospel. So enjoy her talk, enjoy the beautiful joy and energy that she brings to us here on our final day together. And the last thing is that I would like to invite all of you to join us for our final wrap-up event, which is our live stream from the St. John Paul II Shrine. I myself will not be there because I will either be giving birth or have a newborn in my arms. So please tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern to enjoy our wrap-up event where we synthesize what has taken place, and we also invite you to become a part of the Given Network. And you'll have some more time for prayer with a religious sister, with lay women, and I really hope that you tune in. The last calls to action that I have for you is to please follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also check out our YouTube channel, which has so many wonderful pieces of faith formation. You don't want to miss it. And then I also would like to invite all women from around the country to celebrate with us on Our Lady of Guadalupe's feast day, December 12th. Our Lady of Guadalupe is our patroness, and we are going to be hosting parties all over the country, and I invite you to sign up to host a party, sign up to attend a party. It would be wonderful to be able to be together on a Saturday, on her feast day, to celebrate her patronage of us, but ultimately to learn more about her and to pray together and to spend some time with other Catholic female leaders, we hope physically in person. And then the last piece is that I would like to invite any young adults between the ages of 21 and 30 to apply to attend the Given Forum in 2021. Don't be late in applying. We have a wonderful network of women that want to be together in person for our event next year. So please take the time to fill out a form so you get all the important deadlines and information. Also, if you would like to be a mentor for Given, I invite applicants to do so as well. So go ahead and fill out the application. Whether you are a religious sister or a lay woman, you're invited to be a mentor for the Given Network so that you, as a seasoned leader, can walk with and accompany our young adults into helping them discover their gifts. Thank you so much. God bless you. Our Lady of Guadalupe, pray for us.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us here this weekend at the Given Institute. I know you've already probably heard this a million times, but these truly are some crazy times. But we should give thanks to God that we have the gift of technology to continue bringing us together and to continue building community with one another. I would love to start with a prayer to get ourselves in the right headspace and to open our hearts to whatever the Lord wants to reveal to us today. If you join me in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come, Holy Spirit, teach us how to pray. Heavenly Father, I ask you to open our hearts to whatever you want to reveal in us. I ask you to never stop asking us to follow you. Lord, you have pursued us since the beginning of time. You have created the woman's heart uniquely. You have asked us to serve you and to follow you and to be obedient to you in the name of greater joy, in the name of true happiness. Lord, I ask you to be present, to allow this to be a fruitful conversation, and to never stop asking us to gaze into your eyes. Now, I'd love if we'd all join in the Our Father in whatever language we feel most comfortable in. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase su voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día, y perdona nuestras ofensas, como también nosotros perdonamos a los que nos ofenden. Y no nos dejes caer en tentación, y líbranos de todo mal. Hi everyone! Okay, so I guess I'll introduce myself. You might be like, oh, who the heck is this girl on the screen right now? So, my name is Sonia Quintero, and I run Tanta Gracia Photo, which is my media business. My full-time job is loving the Lord, so I do that through graphic design, photography, speaking, writing, social media management for small Catholic companies. Yeah, it's a handful, but as I always say, there is not a day the Lord does not take me on a wild ride with him. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Chula Vista, California, which is the bordering town to Tijuana, Baja California, which is Mexico. I am the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants. I am first generation, and I was born here in 1998. Just want to give a little bit of a scope of where I come from, what values I was raised with, and what traditions. I want to say, as Mexican as they get. I am a very proud Latina. So shout out to all my Latina women out there, any country. So yeah, I think being a first generation woman really shaped the way that my desires and my relationship with the Lord developed. So after my confirmation, and I want to say 2014, I was around 14, 15 years old, I never stepped foot back in the church. I remember going through CCD classes for my first communion and the classes for my confirmation, and I never once thought that I would leave the church. I grew very close to the Lord after the death of my grandfather, and I was determined to pray everyone out of purgatory. I remember I learned that in one of my classes, and I was like, I will single-handedly pray everyone out of there into heaven. So yeah, my relationship with the Lord was incredible as a child. I really trusted in him, and I had that childlike sense of like, this is my father and I love him. So as I continued into middle school and high school, I started adopting a very sin pelos en la lengua attitude. So I'll go off with that. Sin pelos en la lengua directly translated means no hairs on your tongue. And it's a common Mexican saying, which means that you are not afraid to speak your mind. I was a very spunky little girl, and yeah, if I was thinking it, I was gonna say it. And sometimes it just was not the best thing. I formed very strong opinions, and there was always a fire inside of me behind everything I did. In high school, my one passion was soccer. And I remember the day I realized I needed to be better to make it on varsity, right? And for the following year, there was no hesitation in my mind to train every day and to go above and beyond what I was doing. So you would literally see me on the soccer field for about 3 hours a day, running, training, doing anything extra I could do because I wanted to be better, right? Of course, my soccer career is not something I am focused on right now. I had a really bad back injury, and now the Lord has led me to other things. As I went into college, I had some sort of weight on my shoulders, right? I recognized that it was a privilege to have been born in this country, that I did not have to go through what my parents went through to get to a better place and to escape violence and poverty. I always thought the reason the Lord has put me here is to do something great, but I never thought the reason the Lord has put me here is to do something great for Him. So quickly, I started thinking, like, I have 3 options. I can be a doctor, I can be a lawyer, or I can be a very successful corporate woman. And I adopted that to the fullest. Then, of course, I took biology, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be a doctor. And then in college, I took political science, and I was like, well, don't want to be a lawyer. So I was like, great, I'm going to be a corporate businesswoman. I didn't even know what that meant. I quickly started valuing myself by my grades. When I started going to college at San Diego State University, grades were everything I was. In high school, I didn't have the highest GPA or the best class standing. And it didn't satisfy my heart to even be on the honor roll when I graduated. I was so disappointed in myself, I remember. So, what do you do when you're an adult and you're alone in the world and you can make your own decisions? I decided that I was going to single-handedly provide for myself, have the best grades out there, and be the best in my field. So I started taking all the extra classes. I started applying for all the internships. I started working 2 to 3 jobs at a time. I thought I was invincible. And I thought nothing could bring me down. And soon enough, I felt the burnout by my first semester of college. That semester, I actually went to the Catholic conference called Seek. And as I had mentioned before, I hadn't stepped foot back in the Catholic Church since I was 14. And I told myself I'd never be back. Because when I looked at God, I didn't look at God, I looked at someone who judged me. I thought, I'm way too far gone, and there is no reason to turn back now. I struggled a lot with substance abuse, chastity, excellence, taking care of myself. And I always thought, this is the only way. This is the only way. I have to work hard, and then one day when the money starts coming in, it'll be fine. I went to this Catholic conference because someone saw me for who I was, and that was a broken, scared child. And she said, follow me. She was a focus missionary. So I went to this conference, yada, yada, yada. I thought everyone was crazy. I did not want to be there. I was like, that's not what I want. And then one day, I finally decided to pay attention when this priest on stage, named Father Mike Schmitz, started crying during one of his talks. And it was about the prodigal son. And he said, there is no amount of time, there is no sin you can commit, there is nothing that can keep the Lord from desiring you to come back to Him. And in that moment it clicked. I was not too far gone. Of course, I didn't know what that meant. I had never really pursued the Lord. Until I was presented with the Eucharist in front of me, and I felt a revelation so deep where I knew that I knew nothing except that God was present in the Eucharist. You could ask me anything. I could admit to you doubt about anything, but there was no doubt in my heart that God was present in the Eucharist. I came back to campus and I tried to apply that, and I tried this and I tried that, and I kept doing what I was doing. I had not hit the wall yet. Kept working a whole bunch. I kept studying a whole bunch. I kept basing my worth on everything that I could, monetary, academic, anything except the Lord. Until one day I went into the chapel and he asked me, Sonia, I have your heart. You have converted your heart. It's mine. But when am I going to have your actions too? And I was like, what the heck does that mean? And I said, Lord, my heart is yours, but what I do in the world, that's mine. You don't have to be in that. And I walked out. And I came back the next weekend. Sonia, when are you going to convert your actions? And it became this thing where I could not escape that question. And I was like, Jesus, what does this mean? I had the amazing opportunity to intern with a Catholic company right after my conversion, and to intern with them the summer after that as well. And I knew one thing now. I knew two, right? Jesus in the Eucharist. And number two, my heart is set ablaze whenever I do work for the Lord. I had picked up photography in high school. And then when I got to college, I said, no, this doesn't make any money. This is not a real job. I need to put it away. I'm going to put it away. I don't need that. I convinced myself that somehow being an artist was lesser than everything. I told myself, no, your parents came to this country so you could be successful, not so you could follow your dreams. And it was almost this guilt that I carried, right? And I know a couple of you out there with the same background can attest to this. So I kept chugging along, kept ignoring the Lord, until one day I was just like, what am I doing? I had the best internship on campus. I had the best grades I could have. I was financially stable and independent. I was making it out there, yet I had never been so unhappy in my life. And I was like, Lord, this cannot be right. This cannot be true. I am achieving everything I've ever wanted to achieve, yet here I am, empty. And he looked at me and he said, Sonia, when am I going to have your actions? After my first internship, which was marketing and photography, the Lord asked me, will you do this for me? I always say he kept putting a camera back in my hand, even after I abandoned it after high school. And I looked at the Lord and I said, no. And it's funny because I have a friend who says, God makes free will, but he also makes stubborn women. And when it comes to stubbornness, I am at abuelita level. I am at grandma level. I am set in my ways, and the Lord shows me and helps me build every day in that area. So from there, I continued pursuing those monetary and academic achievements, right? And the Lord kept asking me, when are you going to give me your actions? And one day I said, fine, I'll do it. They're yours. What do you want from me, Lord? What do you want? And he invited me to Fort Collins, Colorado. And I was like, what? I was about to take my entrance test for a certain certification I needed for the major I was in. I was on the fast track to graduate because I just wanted to get things done. And suddenly there was a halt in that fast track. I was blazing through my collegiate career and suddenly there was a stop sign. And I noticed that there was this major at another campus that really spoke to my heart because there's a nonprofit on my heart that I want to start in the future. And I said, okay, Lord, pave the way and I'll go. And next thing you knew, I had a scholarship. I was accepted into the school. I had roommates. I had a job in Fort Collins. I had everything lined up. And I said, great, I'll follow you. In the span of 2 weeks, I had decided I was moving. I told everyone. I packed up, and then a month later, I was living in another state. And I still remember the day that I was figuring out tuition and all the things, right? And they told me, Sonia, you need another loan. And I was so surprised because at this point, I had been able to work my way and pay through college without asking my parents for help. Another very prideful thing to do. And I said, fine, okay, I'm going to ask my mom. I'm going to do it. So 2 days before school starts, I call my mom to ask her if she can help me get this loan. And instead of my mom answering, a paramedic answers. and says, "Who is this? We've taken your mom to the hospital. She's in grave condition." We didn't know if she was going to make it, so I decided to drop the semester. And then after that, my scholarship was reevaluated. My admission was reevaluated. It was conditional at this point, and I just could not go back to school. And I looked at the Lord and I said, "How dare you do this to me?" And I grew resentful. But here's the thing I didn't do, ladies. Instead of going to the Lord and saying, "This, like, my heart hurts right now. I feel like you've abandoned me. I feel like you've betrayed me," I stayed quiet and I tried to be pious and pretty and put on this face for the Lord I know he didn't want to see. It took me months to realize the hurt that I was experiencing from this invitation to follow him out of state, and then the crumbling of what I thought it was going to be. So always be honest with the Lord. Always tell him exactly what you're feeling. If you're not exactly feeling very nice things, ask him to purify it. But he wants to see you for who you are, not for some image that is comfortable to hide behind. After that, one thing led to another, and I said, "You know what? If I'm not going to be able to go to school, I am not going to sit here and cry about it and have pity party. I'm going to build my business. I'm going to start this venture." And I asked the Lord, "What do you want me to do?" And he put that camera right back in my hands, and we started Tanta Gracia Photography. After that, it was so scary, right? I was putting myself out there. I had to cultivate this talent. I had to market. I had to learn how to do everything. And I was all alone in a new state. I was like, how the heck am I going to do this? But the Lord came through, and he was with me every step of the way. And now, thanks to that crumbling of what I wanted, I get to do what I love every single day. And I get to do it for the kingdom. There is no desire in your heart that you can bring to the Lord. And if it's not of his will, when he takes it away, he will not return it back covered in 24 karat gold. And that's the way I see it every time. If you leave something at the cross, if you say, "Lord, I want this," and it's in his will, he will grant it to you. He'll give you the grace. But if he has something better in store for you, he's going to ask you to trust him, that when he takes it away, you're going to be fulfilled with something much greater. Now, as I was 19 when I started Tanta Gracia Photo, and I am now 21, it's been a wild 21 years. It's been a wild 2 years of learning humility and how to run a business and how to separate business from personal when it's your faith and all these things, right? So there's 3 things that I always keep in the back of my mind. Before I go into that, I know you're probably here because there's something in your heart that tells you the Lord has given you a gift that he wants you to pursue. Do not ignore that calling. It is such a special invitation from the Lord to gift you with something, whether that's motherhood, whether that's singlehood, religious life, or building a business, or working for someone else, or working to advance something that you're passionate about, right? Like, the Lord puts these desires in our heart for a reason. So the first of those 3 things, I constantly pray that I know. And this is where you're like, how do you pray that you know? So I think there's different levels of knowing. There's knowing something, like, you know it's true, but you're not really convicted about it. And then there's some part of your heart where you're knowing something. That second one, that deeper one, where you let the Lord speak into it and you let your heart accept it. So the first thing that I keep with me always is that God intentionally crafted my calling to me to fulfill his needs for the kingdom. I can't just throw in the towel one day and then everything's fine because someone else will pick it up or someone else will respond to the calling. No, God asked me, and if I say no to him, that need will go unfulfilled. Someone else can't pick it up because he thought of us, every fiber of us before we were born, and he thought of what he wanted us to do as well. And when we look at him and say, "No, thank you," that's just another need unfulfilled for the Lord. To go into it after that, the yes. So yeah, first off, your calling is unique. Second, your yes is important. So when I say that, I mean accepting the invitation to live a life of not knowing, right? So the Lord put this desire in your heart, and now he's saying, will you follow me? He's extending his hand to you, and he's saying, will you follow me to where I need you to go? And you can say, yes, Lord. Yes, absolutely. And then start following him, right? And then things don't look like what they're supposed to, and you hit a rock here, and you get a speed bump there, and this and that, and you're like, what, Lord, like you asked me to follow you, like why would you do this? And that's where we go into the third thing. The Lord will always ask you to trust him. So the same way that your yes is renewed every day, his promise is renewed every day. He's not just gonna make a promise and then kind of forget about it later and be like, oh shoot, I forgot I told you that if you followed me I would fulfill this desire. No, he is going to always fulfill what he promises you in his way. So your yes has to be at every point, at every stop. It can't just be a one time. And then what I also said about trust. Trusting the Lord does not get easier. Trusting the Lord isn't something I want to say you can get good at. But trusting the Lord is a virtue you can adopt. When he says, follow me, that's a part where he's going to ask you to trust. And then as you continue to either build your community or build your vocation or build your academic studies, every step of the way, there's going to be a lot more at stake. So your trust is going to have to be bigger and bigger every time. You must ask him every day to grant you the grace of trusting him. And I know that's kind of weird where you're like, wait, how do I ask him if I can trust? Trust me, it works. And I know I have not been good at it. I'll be the first to say. I am not good at trusting the Lord because when COVID hit and when everything hit, this is my first year being a full-time graphic designer, photographer, Jesus person. And I said, Lord, like, why would you do this? Like, you called me to this, and now, like, the world is up in flames. And he said, yeah, Sonia, but I'm taking care of you. And he has. And in those moments where we doubt, and in those moments where we're like, I've been abandoned, those aren't moments where the Lord has abandoned us. Those are actually the parts of our heart where the Lord wants to bring that to him and say, okay, what thing in my past has caused me to lose faith in what you've promised me? And it's a constant reevaluation of our heart and mind. Because the Lord is perfect, our past is not, we are not. So let's always keep those three things in mind. God has intentionally designed and crafted our calling. He asks us to say yes to him and follow him. And every day is a new opportunity to trust in him and to show him that. I know that sometimes as women, it can be very hard to respond to our calling. And I saw something the other day where someone said, your calling is going to destroy you. If you are called to empower you, you will be ridden with insecurity. If you are called to nurture, you will be ridden with the inability to. It's almost as if in this calling, he wants to form us and he wants to be alongside us. Now, I don't want to scare you and be like, oh my gosh, watch out. If you're called to something, it's going to wreck you. It's not that way. But it is going to cause part of your hearts to be renewed, to be restored, and to be healed. Which I think, I'm definitely not the first to say healing is not pretty. But it's so worth it in the end. And when we do it so that we can fight for the Lord and fight for his truth, gosh, guys, it's so rewarding. I know since we were little, as women, people have told us your hair always has to look a certain way. Oh, messed up my hair. Your makeup has to, you have to look presentable. You have to appease this, you have to appease us, you have to dress a certain way. And we grow up and we can become so nitpicky and insecure about who we are. But the Lord gazes at us every day and says, I made such a good daughter. And it can be so hard to see that goodness sometimes, where you look in the mirror and you're like, Jesus, I just don't like what I see. And I still remember the first time I felt beautiful, and I knew I was beautiful. And that was a day I looked into the mirror And I got to see what parts of myself were like Jesus and what parts of myself were like Mary. It wasn't any boy telling me anything, and it wasn't anyone else affirming my looks or my physical appearance. It was the Lord telling me, your heart and your actions are mine, and that is beautiful, and you are my daughter, and you are good. These are the kinds of things we need to allow our hearts to know and experience when we respond to our calling. Because ladies, we are warriors. And I'm talking to you. You are a warrior. You have been through stuff in your life that you never imagined, and you have come out stronger, and you have come out resilient. And if you're here, it's because there is something in your heart that weighs on you so greatly that you want to pursue the Lord in fulfilling that need in His kingdom. There is nothing and no one that can deny you the fact that you are a beautiful warrior of a woman. And you might be like, okay, Sonia, I did not sign up for some kind of pep talk. I'm not trying to pep talk you. I'm just telling you the truth. Our insecurities can cause us to shy away from the spotlight, because that's what responding to a calling is, right? We're in some kind of spotlight. If it's motherhood, you're in the spotlight of your children and your husband. If it's singlehood, you're in the spotlight of society. Why did you choose singlehood? If you're religious, you're in the spotlight all the time. People are staring at you, at your habits and what you're wearing, and why are you a nun and things like that, right? I know I used to ask people, why are you a nun? I used to be scared of priests too. That's a whole nother story. But we should not shy away from the spotlight, and we should not shy away from the calling the Lord has given us. Ask Him every day to locate those insecurities and to speak truth into them. Because that's not what we were made for, ladies. We were not made to cower in fear. We were made to come fully alive in who He calls us to be. In knowing that your calling is intentionally designed, in trusting the Lord, and in saying yes every day. There's things that come with that. So in knowing that your calling is intentionally decided, you've accepted the spirit of daughterhood and the feminine genius. Knowing that the Lord didn't just make you a woman for it was random, right? I was born, I could have been a boy, whatever. No, He said, this is filling your name, and she is going to be an incredible woman in my name. When He asks us for that yes, it's the same way that He asked Mary for that yes, right? And there's so much we can find. There is so much we can unpack from who Mary was and what she did and how she did it. She was a fearless woman. But being fearless doesn't mean you're not scared. Being fearless means being scared and choosing to do the thing anyways, knowing the Lord is going to safeguard you. I think of the great women in the Bible, like Mary Magdalene, and this other person comes to mind, and I'm not sure if she has an exact name, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. The woman at the well. The woman at the well is such a powerful story for me, and it's because of the way Jesus speaks to her. He turns to her and says, if you had just known who you were speaking to, your thirst would have been fulfilled forever. And that's something that I could see going back and remembering my past decisions. When I kept pursuing academics over my well-being, over my mental health, over everything, the Lord kept looking at me and saying, Sonia, please look that I am the fountain that will give you life. And I kept saying, no, I can't. And I kept going. When I kept telling myself that there was no other option but to be a corporate person and that being an artist was not an option, the Lord kept saying, Sonia, please look at me. Please look at me. When I kept dodging here or there, or when I wouldn't quit my part-time jobs because I was scared that He wouldn't take care of me financially, He kept saying, Sonia, please look at me. I am the well that will fulfill your thirst forever. And I remember reading that Bible passage where He says, if you had just known. And the if, I don't know why the if gets to me. It's almost like the sassiness that Jesus encounters us, right? So I now look back and I see this journey, this tug of war that I had with the Lord, where I had my personal desires that I kept choosing over his, and how no matter what, he kept leading me back to him. And I told myself, Sonia, if you had just seen what he had planned for you, you would have dropped what you were holding on to right now. And just as I said, how that yes and that trust is continuous, that letting go is continuous as well. Because we can't just let go of something. We can't just let go of either our comforts or what keeps us happy that we know aren't in line with God's will, and never think about them again. That continuous temptation is going to be there, and every day we need to be like, no, I let go what my person desires and I hold on to what God desires for me. As we continue to either be in social distancing and just navigate what the world is today, just know that the Lord is working on your heart. And that even in times of pandemics and in times of protests and everything, he is still specifically looking out for you. Because he needs you for his kingdom. He needs a confident, smart, incredible woman for his kingdom. And you already are those things. And if you don't, if you don't feel that way, he's just waiting for you to see it. Again, this is not going to be some kind of like, you're an incredible woman, kind of pep rally. But I want you to know that. Because I wish someone would have shook me and sat me down when I was beginning this journey of finding myself, of finding the Lord, of finding what I wanted to do, and told me, Sonia, you are capable. So fill in your name and say it with me. I am capable. I, say your name, am capable. I, say your name, am chosen. That is all I have for today. I hope you continue to harvest whatever you have encountered during this weekend here at the Given Institute. Know that this is a community for you to come wholeheartedly in. It's always community over competition. We are sisters and we are here to build each other up and to continue pursuing the Lord with one another. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And remember, the Lord chose you.
I think the action plans are fundamental to the success of Given and the efficacy of it.
I think our prayer leads us into action.
My action plan was to organize a music and arts festival.
The mission of my action plan is to empower single women in their 20s and 30s to live bold, holy, vibrant lives.
So with my action plan, I have decided to help parishes become better leaders.
My action plan was a women's retreat.
The action plan that I am working on is to create a spiritual companionship program for young adults.
My action plan has affected my relationship with Christ in learning how to trust him more.
This isn't my action plan, ultimately it's God's.
Following my action plan and pursuing the Lord in that way has totally changed me.
Literally thousands of people have been touched by these young women's action plans.